Shawn Johnson, America's top gymnast, is just 4 feet 9 inches tall and 90 pounds. But believe it or not, she's gigantic compared to the Chinese gymnasts. The Chinese team is so little, so young looking, some wonder if they're old enough to compete.
How old do you think these girls are? 8? 10? Would you believe 16? That's what Chinese officials claim, and they've produced passports to prove every one of them is 16 years old, the minimum age to compete in Olympic gymnastics. But the size of the tiny girls continues to cast big questions over the Olympic competitions. Former U.S. coach Bella Caroli, who spent his life coaching gymnastics, commented the Chinese team isn't just small. Some of them still have their baby teeth.
The critics are saying that the Chinese may have made up the ages, the birth dates on the passport.
Last month, reporters found online documents from previous competition that listed the age of 3 of China's gymnasts as 14 years old. But some experts think they could be even younger.
The little gymnasts have the heads of 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds.
Lois Gibson is a leading forensic artist. She studies the ratios of a face to determine someone's age. Typically, half a baby's face is from their eyes down to their chin. But as you grow older, that space elongates. The Chinese gymnasts?
All of those children that I saw, their chins were really too small. But if you disregard that, they still have the ears the size of someone that's about 10, 11, or 12.
She also studied the gymnasts' irises. In a baby, the iris makes up 100% of the eye opening. As you get older, it's about 50%, regardless of nationality.
These children even have larger irises ratio to the eye opening. They appear to be far into 16.
16 was set as the age limit for Olympic gymnasts in the late 90s. The idea? Protect the youngest athletes from training too hard, too soon, stunting their growth and destroying their bodies. But many coaches and gymnasts argue gymnasts peak younger than other athletes. The age limit, they say, should be lifted.
Let the best athletes from the United States and China compete in the women's team final for Olympic gold.
Dominique Marciano was 14 when she won her medal, the same age as Nadia Comaneci and Carrie Strug when they won theirs.
When I was 14 years old, I was obviously able to flip around more, do more numbers and routines, and do things that I wasn't able to do when I was a little bit older.
The fact is, younger gymnasts are smaller, more flexible, and often fearless, which is why the tiny Chinese team may have a huge advantage. They are, on average, 3.5 inches shorter and 30 pounds lighter than their American counterparts. Still, the International Olympic Committee says there will be no investigation.
For the IOC or for the Gymnastics Federation to say to China, you're lying about the passports, that's just not going to happen. That would create a huge international incident. But the reality is we'll never know for sure.
Now, the IOC believes the matter's been settled. A spokesman said the passport ages now are the same as they have been in the past, so there's no reason to take any action. But age falsification has always been a big problem in gymnastics. In the late 1990s in North Korea, there was one gymnast who, for 3 years straight, said she was 15 years old.
That's interesting. And it's not really just about cheating. It's also about what this can mean for these young athletes, right? Because they peak earlier, but what about the long-term effects? And I ask you as a former gymnast yourself, what can happen to them?
Well, you know, the reason they put these in place was to stop this really difficult, repetitive injuries that you saw over and over again. And people were really ending their careers at 15 years old. So they were trying to extend it, but what's ended up happening is actually you're getting hurt because you're bigger. And so it's a tough situation for the people who look after these things.
All right, Sharon, thank you so much for reporting.
In a flash, be the first to know what's coming up on Good Morning America tomorrow with the GMA Daily Flash email. All the great insider details you want to know from GMA. Go to abcnews.com, click the GMA page, and sign up for the Daily Flash. And you can even enter to win the weekly GMA Flash gift bag giveaway. Sign up now.